Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers signs of intoxication, reasonable suspicion, and firearm laws, and comes to us from Columbus Police Body Cameras channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. On September 4th, 2020, after leaving a casino in Columbus, Ohio, several officers with the Columbus Police Department approached 57-year-old Kathy Rushman's vehicle. Ms. Rushman had stopped her vehicle in the middle of the road and turned on her hazard lights. Documents relating to this incident list Columbus Police Department Officer Ian Wilkinson as the complaining officer, but I cannot confirm with certainty that Officer Wilkinson's body camera provided the footage used in this episode.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm just looking for my husband.
Where's your husband at?
I don't know.
You talking to him on the phone right now?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just wondering why you're stopped in the middle of the road.
Oh, I'm good.
You good?
Yeah.
Who's your husband? What's that? Is he supposed to be hanging out around here?
No.
No? Then if he's not supposed to be hanging out around here, why come you're stopped in the middle of the road right here?
I lost him.
You lost him? Was he in the car?
Yeah.
And he's not in the car now. Go and put the car in park for me, please. Outstanding. So he was in the car, and then he just jumped out and left?
Yeah.
Okay. Where were you guys coming from?
The casino.
The casino?
Yep.
What wound you up down here in the bottoms?
I'm sorry, here it is. Hi, honey. Hey.
What'd she say?
Hey.
Might be a 35. Can't tell.
Hi, honey. Okay, he's around the corner.
Where's he at?
Around the corner.
Where at? Well, before you take off, I need to ask you some questions. Go ahead and hang up the phone for me, please.
Okay.
I just want you to be straight with me, okay? You said you came from the casino, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you do any drinking at the casino?
No.
No? Do you feel okay to drive? You're acting really weird right now. That's why I'm asking.
I'm so sorry, but it's scary.
The officer asks Ms. Rushman if she has been drinking because she is acting, quote, really weird, likely referring to the location of the vehicle, as well as Ms. Rushman's slurred speech, delayed responses, fidgety behavior, and inability to clearly explain the situation with her missing husband. According to the U.S. Department of Transportation National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, stopping a vehicle in a lane for no apparent reason is one of the most extreme DWI cues that officers are trained to look for. And a National Highway Traffic Safety Administration handbook on detecting impaired drivers states that, quote, sometimes when you observe this behavior, the driver will be just lost or confused, but more than half of the time the driver will be DWI, maybe even asleep at the wheel. In addition to driving cues, the handbook reviews various signs of intoxication that an officer should look for after stopping the driver, such as fumbling with their driver's license or registration, repeating questions or comments, or balance problems. However, the handbook does not address the fact that sometimes quote-unquote weird behavior is attributable to mental illness or other health issues rather than impairment. In fact, in a study published in 2018, researchers found that the signs of a mental illness can look so similar to signs of substance use that experienced emergency room psychiatrists frequently confuse signs of mental illness with those of substance use. While this means that what an officer may view as cues of intoxication are actually symptoms of mental illness, or even something as simple as a speech impediment, police officers still have the authority to detain individuals exhibiting signs of intoxication. In the 2002 case of State versus Dicken, the 4th District Court of Appeals in Ohio held that, quote, the possible existence of an innocent or legal reason for the observed conduct does not negate a reasonable suspicion. The possibility of an innocent explanation does not deprive the officer of the capacity to entertain a reasonable suspicion of criminal conduct. Indeed, the principal function of his investigation is to resolve that very ambiguity and to establish whether the activity is in fact legal or illegal, to enable the police to quickly determine whether they should allow the suspect to go about his business or hold him to answer charges. Simply because certain conduct may be construed as consistent with innocent behavior does not mean that this conduct cannot form the basis for reasonable suspicion. Similarly, in the 2014 case of State versus Greaves, Ohio's 2nd District Court of Appeals found that, quote, the fact that innocent explanations could exist for the signs of impairment did not preclude reasonable articulable suspicion of intoxication. When establishing a reasonable articulable suspicion of criminal activity, the state need not exclude each and every possibility of innocent activity that might imply non-criminal behavior. Therefore, even though an innocent explanation could have existed for Ms. Rushman's behavior, an Ohio court would almost certainly conclude that the officers had sufficient evidence to continue to investigate the situation.
I'm in a neighborhood I've never been around.
Yeah, well, that's why. How did you guys end up down here?
I got off the wrong exit.
You got off at the wrong exit? What exit did you get off at? Were you guys arguing? Is that why you jumped out of the car? No? Then why did he just jump out of the car in a neighborhood he doesn't know anything? No idea.
No.
And now he says
I've
he's
never been off this exit. I don't know where I am.
You're in the bottoms right now.
But I know where Mount Carmel is because I had chemo there. But I've never been around here.
Okay. So how much did you drink at the casino?
Two beers.
2 beers? Okay. That's it, because
Yep.
it's gone from 0 to 1 to 2.
Ms. Rushman admits to drinking 2 beers, which is not necessarily illegal under Ohio law, but could be in some situations. Under Section 4511.19 of the Ohio Revised Code, quote, "No person shall operate any vehicle, streetcar, or trackless trolley within this state if, at the time of the operation, the person is under the influence of alcohol, a drug of abuse, or a combination of them." While the statute does not define what it means to be under the influence of alcohol, in the 1971 case of State versus Hardy, the Ohio Supreme Court upheld jury instructions that defined the term as, quote, "any abnormal mental or physical condition which is the result of indulging in any degree in the consumption of alcohol, and which tends to deprive the one so using it of the clearness of intellect and control of himself which he would otherwise possess." This means that an individual could be convicted for driving under the influence after drinking 2 beers if the effect on their ability was substantial enough. However, on its own, an admission of drinking 2 beers would not give rise to a reasonable suspicion of driving under the influence. And Ohio courts require that police officers have a reasonable suspicion of intoxication to legally request that a driver perform field sobriety tests. In the 1998 case of State versus Evans, the 11th District Court of Appeals in Ohio held that, quote, "once the officer has stopped the vehicle for some minor traffic offense and begins the process of obtaining the offender's license and registration, the officer may then proceed to investigate the detainee for driving under the influence if he or she has a reasonable suspicion that the detainee may be intoxicated based on specific and articulable facts, such as where there are clear symptoms that the detainee is intoxicated." The decision also identified 11 different factors that an officer might consider and stated that, quote, "cases considering an officer's decision to conduct roadside sobriety tests rely on the totality of relevant circumstances. Courts generally approve them only where the officer bases his decision on a number of factors. All of these factors, together with the officer's previous experience in dealing with drunken drivers, may be taken into account by a reviewing court in determining whether the officer acted reasonably. No single factor is determinative." Although Ms. Rushman's admission to drinking 2 beers on its own would probably not be sufficient evidence to warrant field sobriety testing, when combined with the other signs of impairment she was exhibiting, a court would almost certainly conclude that the officers had the reasonable suspicion of intoxication necessary to conduct field sobriety tests.
But here, let's start this over, okay? We're going to start this over, clean slate. It's going to be 100% honesty, because honesty goes a long way with me, right?
2 beers,
All right.
I swear to God.
2 beers, that's it.
Yep.
Okay. I don't feel comfortable right now letting you drive off.
Okay.
Would you be okay with performing a few tests to make sure you're sober enough to drive? Is that okay with you?
Yep.
Okay. Let's step out of the car. Where are you from, dear?
Valley View?
Valley View?
Yep.
Okay. All right, let's walk over to the
I
sidewalk
have a
that we're in.
broken foot.
You do have a broken foot. Okay. That's all right. I'm going to close your door. That way nobody hits your car, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's walk over. You see my bumper right there?
Yep.
Let's go and have a seat on that bumper. Yeah, that way you just have a seat on it. That way you're not putting pressure on your foot. When'd you break your foot, dear?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago? What, you roll it or what?
Yeah. My files at work fell on it.
Oh, where'd you work at?
Remember,
Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to keep your head square for me, okay? I don't want you to move your head around. Do you see my finger?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I want you to watch the tip of my finger and nothing else. Are you wearing contacts right now, by chance?
Yeah.
Do you wear contacts?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious. I saw them in there.
Yeah.
Okay. The other 2 tests involve walking, all right? Do you not feel comfortable walking with a broken
No.
foot? That's okay. All right.
I mean, it's really swelled up, see? Versus that.
Yep. Yeah, it certainly is.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have ID in your car, dear? Or do you have it on you?
I do.
So you live up in Valley View and you went to the casino for the night?
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
There we go. Do you have your gun in your car?
No.
No? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Positive your gun's not in your car? Is it okay if we have a look because you have a CCW?
I'm sorry. Maybe in the drive, in the glove box.
In the glove box. All right.
You pull it out.
No, I don't want you to pull it out.
Okay.
All right. Is it all right, you do realize you have to tell us that.
Yeah,
as soon as you come into contact with us.
I'm sorry.
You did not do that.
Ms. Rushman eventually admits to the officers that she has a firearm in her glove box, and the officers inform her that she is required to tell them she has a gun in her vehicle as soon as she comes into contact with them. Under Section 2923.16 of the Ohio Revised Code, quote, "No person who has been issued a concealed handgun license who is the driver or an occupant of a motor vehicle that is stopped as a result of a traffic stop or a stop for another law enforcement purpose and who is transporting or has a loaded handgun in the motor vehicle or commercial motor vehicle in any manner shall fail to promptly inform any law enforcement officer who approaches the vehicle while stopped that the person has been issued a concealed handgun license and that the person then possesses or has a loaded handgun in the motor vehicle. A violation of this requirement is a misdemeanor of the first degree, unless any law enforcement officer involved with the stop had actual knowledge of the offender's status as a licensee at the time of the stop, in which case the offense is a minor misdemeanor. Additionally, improperly handling firearms in a motor vehicle statute also states that, quote, "No person shall knowingly transport or have a loaded handgun in a motor vehicle if, at the time of that transportation or possession, the person is under the influence of alcohol, a drug of abuse, or a combination of them." Violating this statute is a felony of the 5th degree. So, in this situation, if the handgun was loaded, Ms. Rushman could face criminal charges for both failing to disclose the fact that she had a gun in her glove box and transporting the gun in a motor vehicle while under the influence of alcohol.
All right.
I didn't know.
Okay, that's fine. Is that all right if my partner grabs the gun for now? Just keep it in a safe spot?
Sure.
Okay. Where's it at?
In the glove box.
Nope. Just yeah, we'll grab it.
The passenger side still be open.
Okay. What kind of gun is it?
I don't know.
Don't know. Is it black, silver, chrome, gold?
It's in a can cozy.
All right, but it's okay if my partner looks through the car to find the gun? Okay.
It's in the glove box.
All right. Outstanding. He'll look for it. I want you to do me a favor. Just sit right here, okay? I'm going to check some of your information. We'll go from there, okay? All right. Just stay right there. Kathy, one more question I have for you, okay? Just going to set this stuff right here.
John,
all right. Remember, honesty goes a long way with me, right? All right. I want you to think. On a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being you are stone cold sober, never had a, hold on, just let me finish. Never had a drink before, and 10 being so sloshed you can't walk home. On that scale, where do you think you are? A 4? Okay, that's reasonable. All right. What I want you to do is, Kathy, don't stand up for me, okay? Right now, you're going to be detained.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
The officers detain Miss Rushman and place her in handcuffs. The footage does not show the conclusion of the interaction, but on September 5th, 2020, Ms. Rushman was charged in the Franklin County Municipal Court with operating a vehicle under the influence of alcohol under Section 2133.01A1A of the Columbus Code of Ordinances, which mirrors the state OVI statute. On October 2nd, 2020, Ms. Rushman pled guilty to an amended charge of having physical control of a vehicle while under the influence in violation of Section 4511.194 of the Ohio Revised Code. Overall, the Columbus PD officers get an A+ for maintaining a calm and professional demeanor throughout the encounter, conducting a legitimate investigation into Ms. Rushman's behavior, and for remaining within the bounds of their authority as they conducted their investigation. Although many of the interactions featured on ATA showcase officers who commit acts of misconduct, it is important to bear in mind that there are tens of thousands of police interactions that occur every day that are warranted and legitimate. And while there is no doubt that there are deeply rooted systemic issues within the American policing industry, those issues cannot be quantified into catchphrase ideologies that assume that all police officers are bad or that all police officers are good. The nature of the human condition does not allow for societal issues to be painted with such a broad brush, and it is essential to step away from the statistical hearsay and politically charged mantra that often makes its way into mainstream media. Humans and the society that we have built are extremely complex, and relegating your perspective perspective on any societal issue to a one-size-fits-all structure is careless and lazy. The Columbus officers involved in this encounter were nothing short of patient and professional, and this type of behavior is not as uncommon as most Americans are led to believe. Whether or not you believe that all police are good or all police are bad, I challenge all the viewers of this episode to take a moment to examine the complexity of their personal belief system regarding law enforcement, and seriously consider the implications of such a linear mode of thinking. Not all police officers are good, but not all police officers are bad either, and solving the issues that face us as a country will require more effort than blindly adhering to any particular narrative. Ms. Rushman gets an F for endangering the lives of other motorists by driving under the influence, neglecting to mention her firearm to the officers, and for failing to invoke her right to remain silent. It is clear from the footage that Ms. Rushman was in no condition to be driving or in possession of a firearm, regardless of whether or not she was legitimately intoxicated, and her behavior displayed a complete disregard for her fellow citizens. This type of conduct is precisely why possessing a firearm while intoxicated is unlawful. Not only could Ms. Rushman have accidentally harmed herself or others, but her firearm could have easily been stolen without her even noticing. Regardless of Ms. Rushman's innocence or guilt, she also neglected to invoke her right to remain silent, and as mentioned on many episodes of ATA, the degree of guilt associated with any suspect's arrest should never deter the invocation of the Fifth Amendment. Nonetheless, there is little debate about the legitimacy of Ms. Rushman's detainment and subsequent arrest, and I commend the Columbus officers for getting Ms. Rushman off the streets safely and respectfully. Let us know if there's an interaction or legal topic you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out my second channel for more police interaction content.